Okay, here's another League of Legends post-game commentary coming your way, this time with Twitch AD Carry. So the static in this game was really, really bad. That's why I had to take out the commentary, come back, redo this, etc., etc. So, yeah. Twitch, let's go over our matchups. We have Udyr in the jungle against Evelynn, Vladimir top against Fiora, Karthus mid against Victor, and I'm Twitch, partnered with Annie bot against Jinx and Bard. So interestingly enough, today I am re-recording the commentary for this. Fiora's update was announced. I assume it's to probably avoid games kind of like what happens to her in the top lane, and then the bottom lane, but you'll get to that part eventually. So anyway, let's go over how Twitch works. I will be mousing over his skills so you can actually read the fine print, but I'll explain things here. Your passive is Deadly Venom. It applies a stack of Venom whenever you auto-attack the target. You can apply a maximum of 6 stacks. Each stack does 2 damage initially and persists for 6 seconds. As you level up, I don't remember if it goes up like every 3 levels, 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, 16, but it maxes out at 6 damage per second. So if you can get the full 6 stacks, at 6 damage per stack for 6 seconds, that should come out to be 216 true damage, I believe. Which may not seem like a lot on a tank, but the thing is, your average AD carry has like 2,000 hit points at level 18, depending on what exactly they build. Since some build Trinity Force, they do get a little bit of extra HP there. Depending on if they need a Randuin's Omen, something like that. Depends on their defensive item. And then there's also the Bloodthirster Shield. All these things come into play, but that 216 is true damage, and just on average, that's a tenth of the AD carry's health that will go away if you allow the whole thing to go. The thing is, usually once you get all 6 stacks, they've taken so much damage in the meantime that they'd probably die anyway, so kiss of death. So after spending, what was that, like 30 seconds explaining his passive, we move on to his Q, Ambush. After a period of not taking damage from 1.5 seconds to 6 seconds, you will stealth. While stealthed, you run faster. You come out of stealth after a period of time, I believe it scales with the rank of the move. And when you come out of stealth, you have an attack speed steroid, so you shoot faster. And all of this stuff scales with the rank of the move, which I'm going to be maxing that second. The W, which I just took, is Venomous Cast. You target an area on the ground, you throw your cask out there, it applies a slow to the enemy and 2 stacks of your passive. It's one of these skills that very much comes in handy for when you're trying to assassinate someone. Your E is Expunge. It does damage scaling off of both AD and AP. The whole AP thing kind of confuses me since I don't see any way an AP Twitch could be even close to being viable, but that's a debate for another time. It does damage based on how many stacks of your passive are on an enemy. So for the AD carry, once you get the full 6 stacks, you can pop that for insane damage and probably just instantly kill them. And for those of you that have joined the game recently and haven't been playing since Season 2, back then, Draven and Twitch were the 2 most powerful AD carries, to the point where if one of them was on the field, unless they were against one another, they were promised first blood because the expunge damage was that ridiculous. It's been nerfed though, so it's not quite as crazy, but if you can get the stacks, it still takes out a pretty sizable piece of your opponent. Finally, your ult is Spray and Pray. It's an attack speed steroid, or attack modifier, attack steroid, whatever you want to think of it as. What it does is it will give you a small amount of AD to make you hit harder. It will increase your attack range as well, so you can shoot something like 650 to 700 range, I don't remember what it is offhand. But the most important part is that your attacks become piercing. So if you can get the enemies to line up, like in the jungle or something along those lines, you can hit the entire team with every auto attack. And it applies on-hit effects like Blade of the Rune King and other things, so you can just instantly win a team fight if you can corral them like that. But that's how Twitch works. So if you want to know how the bottom lane is going to start off, watch Annie's mana bar, because when she runs out, I die. But in the meantime, I'm going to be maxing Expunge first, and I'm perfectly fine with letting this push under the tower because I'm pretty sure I can last hit decently. Like right here is when I die, I think. Yeah. So there was her heal, and Annie had no mana. So while I end up dying first, I'm going to be getting a lot of payback on that Jinx. So on the first back, I go for AD. The Vamp Scepter for sustain because Annie doesn't have a heal, Bard does. I need to outlast them. And the nice thing about lifesteal is that it doesn't actually cost you mana or any sort of resource to heal. It's just 10% healing, I think. Once I'm factoring in my runes, if you're wondering. I think it's like 8 from the Vamp Scepter, and I have 3 from runes, so it comes out to be 11% in that case. Right here, Udyr is going to kill Bard. For some reason, they stayed too long, which is going to backfire on them a bit. With my AD, I can last hit somewhat decently under tower. And if I could freeze it right here, that would really screw Jinx, and she'd have to overcommit to try to last hit. And she is one of the immobile AD carries. I am as well, so we kind of tie there. But the important thing is that would open them up to Udyr ganks, and whenever I play Udyr, I love to gank Jinx, because all you have to do is avoid the Flame Chompers. Avoid those, you're golden.
Plenty more where that came from. Seriously, I carry a lot of ammo.
So right here I have the rank 3 Expunge, and I just gotta keep last hitting. As for Twitch, I don't remember if he was the second or the third AD carry I got way back in Season 2. It was Ashe, Cog, and Twitch that were my first 3, and well, those are the 3 that I still really like to play. Not so much Cog, since his movement speed kind of got gutted to where he has Ezreal's base movement speed, but no steroids whatsoever. No blinks, nothing, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's Riot Games that work for you, so we can call it a snafu. So right here, if you notice, Jinx has a BF sword. She'd win any prolonged trade. Well, she wouldn't win any prolonged trades. She'd win any upfront trades. She has something like 45 to 55 AD. I don't remember offhand what the BF sword gives, because before this week I didn't really play AD carry for a while. But the thing is, she only has the 3% lifesteal from the Duran Blade, while I have that 11% I explained. So one thing that I want to do is avoid fighting before I unlock my ult, because the AD I get from the ult will actually kind of offset some of the damage from the BF sword, and then it's just my lifesteal that's going to give me the advantage. It does mean there's going to be a small window where I'm going to have the advantage on them, yes, but it's still an opportunity. Once again, they're pushing this in. As long as I can avoid the zap, it's not really a problem. You can see Jinx's health is a little low, but her mana is really full, so she can use Fishbones to push really hard if she so chooses.
Here's something that won't wash off.
Unfortunately, that Flame Shield just killed one minion, if you noticed. It's a really cheap way to charge up for the stun. I forgot what exactly your passive is called, but there is some damage that can be done. For those that aren't... Okay, right there, she engaged on Jinx without pinging or notifying me in any way, so yeah. Picked her off with the spray and pray. Here, Bard gets us with his ult, but he has nowhere to run. He's going to die to an anti-auto attack. Annie lives, I got a kill and an assist, plus all this farm. As a result, the lane has now swung in my favor.
From out of the sewers
And the bad news for the enemy is that, like, oh, there's Eve, I forgot to point out. So right here, this is a beauty. She sits here and lets me fully stack my passive. So if you remember what I said earlier, once I hit the 80 mana, which I'm watching, pop. At level 7, I should be doing 4 true damage a second. 6 stacks means 24 per second. 24 times 6 is 100 and... No, that I have to be doing this one wrong. 134?
Hey, what did I step in?
I think it's 144. And we're going to have our next fight here. The important thing is on that back, I got Blade of the Rune King and Boots. Sadly, they're not Zerkers, but we got the dragon, and, well, Jinx isn't really watching behind her. So right there, Cask, I just start auto-attacking her. I get up to the full 6 stacks, pop the E. Right here, I'm trying to use Blade of the Rune King. That's why my cursor is over Victor. For some reason, it's not casting. I don't know why. As a result, I just flash out. Karthus and I have to fight here. Now, I am pretty much dead to rights, but I pop ambush and then make my getaway down the river. So I live, and Karthus had enough HP in the first place. Bad news is Bard opts to try to get me, and, well, notice I still have Blade of the Rune King. So I could have killed, like right there the stun was kind of BS because I don't have the terrain behind me. And I probably could have killed Bard without Karthus' intervention, but the thing is, we would have killed one another. Karthus intervening made sure that I at least lived. So he gets the kill, not really a big deal. I'm fine with that. I can go ahead and pick up a dagger so that I shoot a little bit more quickly, and now I have some assassination potential. Normally I like to go for the BF sword fairly early on Twitch, but this game, I don't really see the need. You can think of it as disrespect towards Jinx or whatever. There is some truth to that. And unfortunately right here, Annie is, like, she is killing those before they are about to die. Like, she's not really freezing it, and as a result she's pushing it. And it's not like she was charging her stun either, which doesn't really make any sense to me. As a result, I only get 1 minion out of that wave, but oh well. So at level 8, I start maxing the ambush for the offensive stats it gives me: movement speed, attack speed, stealth. I will be pulling off an assassination on Jinx later on in the game, but there's less than 7 minutes left, so you're not going to be waiting very long. You can see for her, she picked up a dagger and boots on that back. She kind of paused the Infinity Edge to try to get some mobility. And that's not necessarily a bad pickup on her part, because I think during the river fight she realized, hey, without movement speed, this Twitch is just going to fully stack his passive and pop me. Which is completely true. So right here is our next skirmish. I didn't get to put my Venom on Jinx, but they're taking Tibbers damage right here. Okay, I haven't used Spray and Pray just yet, but I am going to kill them with it. Here we go. So if you notice, Jinx just barely gets out, and then she walks back in for some reason. Had she waited for my ult to actually time out, she might have been able to poke me from a distance. And the worst part is she stood directly behind Bard. Does she not know my attacks pierce? Out of all the places in the lane to stand, she stands in the most ideal for me. And the other confusing part is, like, she could have stayed on the one side of the tower and shot out from there, and I couldn't have done anything, but she walks to where I can kill her.
Stand still! My eyes are on the side of my head.
Anyway, I have enough to get the Zeal and the Zerkers. I go ahead and stealth during the recall, but I need more points into it to stealth during the entire thing, I believe. Zeal gives me more movement speed, more attack speed, a little bit of crit. It's handy for your assassinations. So right here I think, yeah, I'm changing directions. I'm anticipating a fight mid, and that's why I kind of want to get there. I pop the stealth early for the movement speed. It's still not that much, but still something.
Rust is like
And I think Annie wanted to give me the ward kill, but I figured I'd leave that for the support. They barely get any gold, etc., etc. Doesn't really matter.
It's sticky.
Now the important thing is I get to drop the ward there. We get to see where they are, and you can see that the brush was warded because Victor knew when to drop his gravity field. And while the ward does die to the sweeper, that's not a big deal. Here's the Jinx kill. So W, Blade of the Ruined King, we are now at 6 stacks, push expunge to pop, and there goes Tibbers. Sorry Annie, no assist for you.
They'll have more holes than my favorite cheese.
So Tibbers can take CS. Oh, this is a good fight. Flash. And expunge for the win. So right there I got some damage down on Bard, 2 stacks my passive. It's not a lot, but it's enough for Karthus to get the kill. I get the assist, and I can just go ahead and continue pushing the lane. So I did have to burn my flash in that fight, but in order to set Eve back, that was incredibly worth it, since she's one of the junglers that struggles to do anything when behind.
Oh yes, yes.
And fortunately for this part, both Vlad and I were late to the fight, so we lost Annie and didn't really get anything out of it. But we can make the best of the situation and help ourselves to a dragon. Right here you can see that I'm doing 24 true damage a second. I can expunge for bonus damage, but since I started the dragon fight, this 24 per second really does add up. I didn't track to see how long it lasted, we'll say a minimum of 10 seconds, that was 240 true damage. And I actually could have walked away a little earlier and the damage would continue to tick. Now right here I was hoping that Bard would go a different direction so I could assassinate Jinx, but he's still in the area, as you'll see in a second. Right here I'm going to go ahead and burn my heal for the movement speed, that way I can get some distance. And right here with Annie I was hoping I could re-engage. I do have enough mana for a expunge and spray and pray. It's just they fled.
Enemy killing spree.
In the meantime, Victor kills Udyr. I have 2 ranks in my ult now, so it does a little bit more damage. And I'm trying to remember if there's actually is any damage fall off from using it. Eve goes down yet again. I should also point out the top lane. I don't know how Vladimir won that lane so decisively, but he really did. I'm not entirely sure if the Fiora rework is actually going to address the weaknesses she has to AP characters.
I'm on to you.
She has the whole parry thing, but if the enemy just casts spells, how does that really... Her thing is riposte, that's right. Anyway, right here we are put in stasis, and it doesn't really accomplish anything for them. I'm not entirely sure what it was that killed Jinx, but you can see I have enough damage to just shred them. As for right here, Vlad gets stuck in the gravity field. I walk around it, but I wasn't really anticipating being able to get a kill off on him. And in actuality, I don't think I killed Victor at all this game, but here comes the Fiora kill. So I plan on recalling here stealth, but Karthus needs a hand, and hey, I have my attack speed buff, so hey Fiora. So right there she does use the riposte, but it doesn't matter because Karthus is damaging him as well, or her as well. My poison is still ticking, and worst come to worst, I always did have Expunge to pop to just take out a nice chunk of her. As a result, Eve engages to try to help the Fiora. They both die. Karthus and I both walk away with a kill. Sadly, that was the end of the game, though. I go ahead and pick up the upgraded trinket. I get the pickaxe, the BF sword, but if you look, there's 30 seconds left. The surrender's going to be coming up, and that's that.
It's me!
Bit of a stomp. We really did wreck the Jinx. They didn't really have towers or anything going their way, so I can't really blame them for throwing in the towel. Not even dragons their way. Anyway, that's it for now. I'm the Hero of Light. Thanks for watching.